Hey guys, welcome everybody. Like the life says itself, this is how Julius Maada and Fatima wants the world to remember them. So I want to break this myth, and because we live in a bubble around the world, right? It is what people see is what people will talk about. If you don't share with people and give them enough information, they would always just fall for the propaganda, right? They will fall for those people that actually have the kinds of messages out there. So what Julius Maada and Fatima they are doing, they want the world to remember them in a certain light. And we have a responsibility to say, okay, it's fine. These people are doing these, but let us actually share what they've been actually doing behind the scene that the world does not know about. It is a responsibility, and therefore I want to call Sierra Leoneans across the globe to ensure that that narrative is washed up and it's cleaned up, because what they're doing is to launder their dirty image to the rest of the world. I'm going to show you a video of Julius Maada and what he wants the world to remember him as. And I'm going to show you two videos of Fatima as to what she wants the world to remember her as, right? I want to paint these pictures so you guys will have a clear understanding of what we're dealing with, because it is very crucial as it is right now. You all know we're still struggling and we're still asking ECSL to show us the disaggregated data of the June 24th, 2023 elections. And up until this day, they've not shown the results of the elections. So that is there. Maada is constantly flying across the globe, is fighting to seek global recognition. That is his mission, so the world would recognize him as the president of Sierra Leone. He wants that. That is why everywhere, if he has to buy tickets to go someplace, he would buy that ticket just to go over there. Like right now, he's in London. But again, the purpose of this live is to let you all know, as Sierra Leoneans and the world at large, if you're seeing this video, I want you to understand that the president, the illegal president currently, who was once the president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada and his wife, Fatima, these guys, what they are doing is they want to send these two messages out to the world, and this is what people would fall for and capture. Because when you hear these kinds of messages, you say, oh, these people are awake. These people are fighting for Africans. But no, let us check what they're doing in their countries, and which is what I'm going to show to you guys. But without much ado, I'm going to show you the first video. And this is the video of Julius Maada and how he wants the world to remember him. And therefore, we have a responsibility to break that apart and make sure the world knows exactly the abuses that have been going on in Sierra Leone, the human rights abuses, the stealing of elections, the opposition suppression of people, the killing and assassinations that has gone on in Sierra Leone. It is a responsibility. No rights to free speech. All the draconian laws. They will tell you, oh, we've removed the libel laws. But then you check, they have the Cybercrime Act that they've brought to replace the libel laws. Well, the world would not see this if we don't tell them. We have a responsibility. Yes, to tell the world. Let everybody have a fair picture of what is actually happening. Not just for them to fall for, oh, look at Fatima leading a protest in Kono. Oh, look at Fatima talking about the colonization of Africa. Oh, look at Maada talking about, Africa having a seat at the United Nations. Because that is what they want the world to know about them. But you and I have a responsibility to say, fine, okay, you've known this, but this is the other side that is suppressed. This is the other side that you don't know about. This is the other side that the journalists in Sierra Leone would not talk about. The press, the opposition would not talk about, because the opposition is silent. They've been bought into, right? Because this is what they do. They co-opt oppositions, and opposition in Sierra Leone has been co-opted. It means the opposition is useless. They're not there anymore. They're just there for the sake of opposition. They're just waiting for their own turns to come and steal the resources of the nation, because they've seen that Maada is the biggest thief. And now they know that, okay, we're not going to oppose him. We'll let him thieve as much as he wants to thieve. So when we come to power, they will not oppose us as well. We can thieve as much as we want to thieve. So this is the message I want to put out so you guys will understand exactly what it is. I'm doing the work for the people that want to contest elections. They don't know how to do this. These people, all they care about is power. They don't care about civic education and sensitization. So which is why I'm doing this. I want to give you guys this preamble so you guys understand exactly what it is. We have a responsibility. Don't be silent when you're seeing these things. So without much ado, let me show you the first video and the words that Maada wants the world to remember him. I want you to listen to this. So check this out. Let's listen to this together.
Had an indisputable resonance. One, that the historical injustice being perpetrated against Africa must be rectified. 2, that Africa must be treated as a special case. And 3, that it must be prioritized in the reform process. In expressing appreciation for the active and supportive engagement by the many interest and regional groups, as well as invited member states to the debate, the facts and issues are now clear to all. Africa has long been marginalized in global decision-making processes, and its voices are often drowned out. The legacy of colonialism, economic exploitation, and political marginalization has left deep scars on the African continent, thereby affecting its development, stability, and influence in international affairs.
All right. I'm going to come back to this video, but this is what I want you guys to see. You heard the word Madabio saying about colonialism, right? I want you guys to understand where Fatima Bio got that from at the same time. So let's listen to this interview of Fatima Bio, because again, this is what they want the world to know about them. This is what they want Africans to know about them. And Africans see this and they say, oh, the president and his wife in Sierra Leone, these people are fighting for Africa. So listen to this interview of Fatima Bio. I'm giving you guys, I'm contrasting so you guys would understand the game that is being played and for people to understand exactly what it is. So I want to show you guys this so you guys can see exactly what it is, okay? I want you guys to see. And this was the interview of Fatima Bio that Fatima Bio did when, talking about colonialism. And it's a video that has gone around Africa. And I've seen African content creators talking about this video, but they don't know the other part of Fatima Bio, talking about, barbecuing the private parts of men, right? They don't know about mob justice, right? Killing people, beating people up for speaking up or anything. They don't know the other part of things because the media has not been doing a good job selling this out to the world so the world knows. The opposition has not done it. Listen to this interview of Fatima Bio, taking the cue from her husband, who is talking about colonialism and the suppression of Africa. And you would hear that, and then you listen to the wife, you say, oh, these people are in tune. It's a game. It's a means to launder their image. And this is what the world to know about them. This is what they want the world to understand about them. So listen to this.
One of the most fundamental corruptions of the social contract in human history is colonialism. Yeah. And it's that mechanism that some states have used to extract resources from other places, such as Sierra Leone. That deprives countries of the resources they need for government services, for education, for health. So I was hoping you could reflect a little bit on what those forces have done to Sierra Leone and what kind of accountability we might be able to think about, just to imagine a way forward from where we've begun now.
When you look at what Sierra Leone have to offer, when it comes to our mineral resources, the kind of mineral resources we have in our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country. We should not have a single poor person in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources. There's always Big Brother who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition and they'll be supporting the opposition against you from the back, or they cause unnecessary chaos in your country so that you are not able to even govern your own people. They will do things to make you not to be functionable. And of course, any country that don't have peace cannot develop. You have to have peace before you talk about development. I'll give you a simple example about Sierra Leone. Every mining company that is in Sierra Leone today is owned by a foreigner. Every mining company. If it's not the Chinese, it's the American, it's the British.
Okay.
Our electricity, Bumuna, is run by the British, and we still don't have light. We're looking for light, electricity. If you don't have electricity, how can you talk about education? How can you talk about health facility? How can you talk about improving the infrastructure of your country? We don't have electricity. Now, do we actually even have proper water, pipe-borne water, so that our kids will not be sick? We don't have those facilities. Why? With all the minerals we have, there is a cap you put. Before my husband became the president of Sierra Leone was benefiting, they said, what's the word? 0.000.1%. What is that? Basically, a company can take as much as $100 million out of the country in terms of minerals, and then they can just give the country $10,000. Now, what will $10,000 do for our health system? My goodness. What is $10,000 do for our educational system? And these are the things I believe that are stopping Africa from progressing. We don't have a say. The sense about us celebrating independence, I don't know why we celebrate independence, because we are not free.
Okay.
That is my own take. I'm not speaking also on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, nor am I speaking on behalf of His Excellency the President. Right. I am speaking as Fatima, as a citizen of a country who believes that things need to change.
Okay. I join.
All right. So this is what Fatima Bio wants the world to know about them, about her, right? Speaking up against colonialism. When her husband has been in power for 6-7 years now, illegally for the past 2 years, 5 years legally, 2018 to 2023, it was the legal president of Sierra Leone. Not one challenge was he able to resolve and solve in that country. Not electricity, not the water crisis, and we know there's been thieving of all sorts. I'm going to come back to these videos. I'm going to circle back to them, but I want you guys to understand exactly what their intentions are and what Fatima B wants the world to actually know about her and what she's been doing, you know, in Sierra Leone. It's very important that the world understands, yes, they say this, but what in actual fact are they actually doing about that? That is a fundamental question that needs to be asked. So I'm going to come back to Maada and continue with the UN, thing that is talking about having a seat at the United Nations, so that you guys will understand what we're talking about when we say these guys, all they're trying to do is launder their image to the rest of the world, so the people would not know exactly who they are and what they've been doing to Sierra Leone to destroy our people and take advantage of our people and damage the reputation of Sierra Leone over the years for everything that has happened. So again, Fatima Bio, what she's been saying is this thing is catching hold. You know, for us unsuspecting, blogger somewhere in the world, who does not know what is actually happening, in Sierra Leone, would see something like this and go for it. There's been a lot of controversial things that she has said in the past, and nobody I don't think people know about this if we don't come here and talk about these things, which is why it's very important for us to mention, these issues that have been going on. So, for example, this is a video that, Fatima Bio would not want you to know about and would not want bloggers in the world to know about. What they want you to hear is the fact that they've been in power for 5-6 years. They were not able to solve the problems of Sierra Leone. However, the opposition has not let them, and the colonial masters has not allowed them to improve the welfare of Sierra Leoneans when they've been involved in all kinds of thieving and corruption cases. But listen to this video. This is what they don't want you to know about. This is what they don't want the world to know about. But this is the real Fatima Bio. I want you guys to listen to this. This is how she talks. And this is not going out there in the world. You guys should know about this. Check this out.
Not left for Yeri in this country. True now, not left for Yeri at all in this country. I swear to God. That one not left for Yeri now go to tell you every day. Because true, they kill. They say if you do not carry go heaven, they carry go hell. So this true, I will continue for talking. Una Lord, we praise President BOC. Well done, sir. You have done your best. And now we tell the one the way that they sabotage, what they do say. if we catch una, would they begin the mob justice una, would they beat una na public? If we catch una, would they begin the mob justice una, would they beat una na public? We make all to say. If we catch una, would they begin the mob justice una, would they beat una na public? We make all man no say na una bad habits mortal man. They are not left for yerin na this country.
It is a democracy. What she's saying here, for you guys that don't understand Creole in Sierra Leone, is that she's going to start, they would start, and this was over 2021, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, and they did a lot of these kinds of atrocious crimes against our people, which I'm about to share with some of you guys, so you would see exactly some of these videos, you know, so that you would know what I'm talking about, because it's very clear that it's nice for us to point these things out, you know. So but what she was saying there was, they're going to start catching people, beating them up because they're speaking up or condemning the government, basically. So that is what she was talking about and addressing in this video, just in case you don't understand Creole. So basically preaching violence, you know, to their supporters, you know, for them to carry on some of these dastardly acts against the people. And this was why a lot of people were killed, you know, for protesting or speaking up against, you know, the government of some sort, you know. So these are the things they don't want you to know. But however, we have a responsibility to ensure that we share these with you so you guys would know exactly what is actually going on. But I'm going to share some images with you here so you guys would see what we're talking about, because, you know, nobody deserves, you know, the kinds of beatings and killings that has occurred in Sierra Leone. Nobody should be subjected to stuff like that. And I'm going to share some of these videos with you guys because I want you guys to see them, you know, so you'll understand exactly what we're talking about. All right. But again, that's Fatima Bio. She does not want you to know about this under no circumstances. She does not want you to see this. She does not want you to know about this. She does not want you to see videos like this because she knows that, you know, it's going to look very bad. I'm not even touching about corruptions and not everything they did, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just telling you what they don't want you to know and the kinds of image they want to portray so the world can see them in that light. I'm going to share this other video with you guys, and I want you guys to listen to this. This is Fatima Bio. This is the kind of person that we're talking about. I don't care what kind of crime somebody committed. There is a law for a reason. We don't have retributive justice. We're not animals. That is why we have the judiciary. If somebody commits a crime, they are presumed innocent until found guilty by a competent court of law, right? So this is what I want you to listen to, how she propagates how people should be treated for committing crime. I don't care if it's rape or whatever it is, as bad as it is. We don't want nobody to rape anybody, but nobody should be telling people to listen to this.
Not so that they are still, but I say if somebody make you naked, take whip or pop them, that's the whole time. Yeah.
So basically, this is what she's saying. This is what she's saying here, right? That if men, you know, that are caught, or, you know, if they're accused of rape, what the people should do in these towns, they should naked these men, strip them naked, walk them around the towns, beat them, whip their tail, whip their buttocks, because they've been accused or they've been found raping a child. Again, that is a very terrible crime. We agree. However, that's why we have the judiciary. We have competent court of law. So people like Fatima Bio should be the ones propagating and pushing for people to understand and respect the judiciary. But how can he respect the judiciary when he himself does not even respect the rights of women? We've been talking about Satta Lamin. Satta Lamin was a lady that was raped in Sierra Leone because he supported the APC party in Kailahun district. And up till this day, nobody has taken up the case of Satta Lamin. Not even Fatima Bio. Not even Fatima Bio. To talk about the case of Satta Lamin. So people would hear this. And I want you guys to listen, you know, to the ordeal of Satta Lamin as well. So you guys can hear exactly what it is. Because I don't want you guys to think we're making stuff up when we come here to talk about these lives. This is what they don't want you to know about them. That's why I've played the video of Maada Bio. I'm going to come back to Maada Bio, but I'm taking Fatima Bio first. So you guys see this and know this is what she wants the world to see about him, see about her. So that when bloggers, unsuspecting bloggers across Africa, or news agencies, or human rights organizations, and people, organizations that would be curious about stuff like that, like Pan-Africanist movements, across Africa, they would see a video like that, which I just played about Fatima Bio, talking about colonialism and how they would pin the opposition against you so you cannot improve the lives of your people. They say, oh, Pan-Africanism. Yes, this lady is Pan-Africanist. We have to show them what they don't know. Listen to this Satta Lamin's experience. Listen to this real quick. I want you guys to listen to this.
Satta Lamin way 2018. Me I bet for APC because APC way talk na talk and do way do anything way they talk they do. Me I see the make allow I can radio I can declare for APC I go there. Many people they hate me. 2018 way you vote now, you don't vote. And then say Maada Bio win. Now me say okay Maada Bio way win problem no dey. To other people that they accept people where they lost they sit down. Back where we lost they sit down. Again me banga wait la go cook abuela. Safe. Where I gonna wear me? Now people that come on Aganyang village. Time man there with the weapon, with the knife, then everything. They say Satta Tolongo we can't come for kill you. Because when you go APC, you don't take vote. I say who's waiting? Me I don't go APC, I don't go for ID. I declare an radio. I go APC. When you wanna say I don't do this, I say to me I say let we go na town, let we go investigate. And they say we not agree. Then better people supported the tender. They buy stock from we, they buy cookie, they buy everything. They can't drink, they kill you. And let you don't with you say you wait yourself come out. I say no problem. If you go there no more, not to show me say me now. Person where I bet for APC, I go there, I declare. All man not say me declare for go APC. I say, what you have supposed to fit for do? We not do no more. Then I sit down. Me man, you know me there. Now carpenter, you go man over. Now his small brother, he and children all go together. We been there living. Now 10 man they can't hold me, they undress me. They tell me go, this hold me foot, this hold me foot. They tell me go. Who said them in there look me picking there that man the way they go to mass man and there then they lead out with me they take sasa they show up me name one man name sama moda then is show in hand say me in private in throw me womb then me womb to begin come also then I tell them I say when I don't see when you don't with me when I don't pull me now. Una na me young picking there now one village then born me and mama there. Una candidate with me for APC. Yeah. Where I declare I not go there for hide that. I say right. Problem no there. Una don't know with me, una go now. They say una they go. Where we do this? Would they tell you go na chong back and we go sing pan. I said that they know the apple. I said we left for drag you tell we carry we go. Then them that famous then they set fire pana. That palm 7 batter they take up. They beat me picking that last in where last one they take and they shove on water. Then they call the blood go and what yourself. I say when I see Sunday for me when I say when I the worker with me home we hang so then they tell me go papa. They tell up for me, they tell me go at that time. When they tell me go, now people then mama then they sing for me. They say to go now was there, now you have the book. They count the dog, they count the alpha. That's what they tell me. They come out. Wow. Now my APC, now they say, who said Satta Lamin they would have better. Well, they accept people then they went on, I mean they say like this. Papa, I don't send. Me picking the there's something hard. We're picking it.
So guys, this is what is happening. This is what Fatima Bio does not want you to know about their government, what their people did. So when she goes out there and talk about men raping women or men raping kids, how people should actually, strip these guys naked and whip them on their buttocks, she has never taken up the case of Satta Lamin, who was brutally raped. And these guys took their hands and put it into her private parts and removed her womb and then tied a rope around her neck and walked her through the village. Fatima Bio has never ever spoken about that. These are the people, and this is what I want you guys to understand, and this is what I want you guys to remember about these people. It is not videos like these when she comes out here and you guys hear something and she's talking about, colonialists, and how they're being treated. So I want you guys to listen to this, okay? I want you guys to listen to this.
In a way forward from where we've begun now.
When you look at what Sierra Leone have to offer, when you come to our mineral resources, the kind of mineral resources we have in our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country.
Thank you.
We should not have a single poor person in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources.
Can you imagine that?
There's always big
How
brother
incompetent.
who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition, and they will be supporting the opposition against you from the back.
Okay.
Or they cause unnecessary chaos.
This is what, and by the way, this was at Ava T.H. Chan, school of, but this is what they want you to know. So an unsuspecting individual across the world somewhere sees this, and they compare this to the Ibrahim Traore. But Ibrahim Traore, even though they don't want him to do what he's been doing for his people in Burkina Faso, but he stays consistent and he's improving the lives of Burkinabes every day in Burkina Faso. He does not care about what the world has to say about him. But this is the problem, and this is the thing we're talking about, and this is what they want you to see. This is what they want you to, say, oh, we are Pan-Africanist. We are standing up. We want to improve our people's lives. But the white man is not allowing us. How incompetent can you be? These people in Sierra Leone today, Sierra Leone is still the unhappiest, second to last. Out of 150 some countries, Sierra Leone is second to last in the most unhappy country in the world. Elections are rigged, oppositions are killed, people are locked up, disappearances, assassinations. We know all about these cases. They don't want you to know about this. What they want you to know, what they want you to see is these kinds of videos, and then you think they're Pan-Africanist. I'm going to come back to the video of Marabio so you guys would see what I'm talking about. This is the video of Marabio, what he wants you to know. And this is the videos that other Africans would see, or other people in the world would see and say, oh, this guy is fighting for Africa, but let's go back to his motherland, because people don't have time to do the research. They don't have the time to go to Sierra Leone and say, let's go check and see what he's been doing in Sierra Leone. It is only few people like myself that think like that. Even when we see stuff that is happening, for example, in Rwanda, we say, let's go check the underbelly of Rwanda. So we do know there's some stuff going on, but at the same time, the government is doing well for its people. But we do understand the historical concept of what happened in Rwanda in 1994, a genocide. In Sierra Leone, we've had a brutal rebel war, which is why people like myself, we are here to talk so that we can prevent another brutal rebel war from going on again, from, occurring again in Sierra Leone. Because what is happening now in Sierra Leone is 10 times worse than what was happening back then, before these guys even went to the bush to justify the brutal rebel war that we had. So now we've seen the same things and even worse happening in Sierra Leone. But what does Marabio want the world to see? This is what they want the world to see. Watch this together.
This results in a lack of meaningful representation on issues that directly affect the continent, such as conflict prevention, conflict resolution, peacekeeping operations, and sustainable development. Addressing contemporary global security challenges require the collective wisdom and cooperation of all nations, not just the privileged few or the most militarily or economically powerful. We urge that equitable representation of Africa, we argue that equitable representation of Africa will better equip the United Nations to tackle global challenges and foster a more just, fair, and peaceful world. As the coordinator of the African Union Committee of 10 on the reform of the Security Council, Sierra Leone remains fully committed to promoting, defending, and soliciting support for the common African position as espoused in the Ezowini Consensus and SAT Declaration. Africa, therefore,
listen, this is what he wants.
Demands no less than 2 permanent seats with all the rights and privileges of the permanent members, including the right to veto and 2 additional seats in the non-permanent category of the Security Council.
I want you to think about that. This is what Maada wants you to know. And if anybody across Africa sees this, what they would remember is that, oh, this Sierra Leone president, man, this guy is a Pan-Africanist. He's a freedom fighter. He's fighting for Africa. Look, he's representing us. He wants Africa to have, 2, additional seats, at the United Nations and 2 permanent seats, within the United Nations. Oh, yes, he's for us. He's our brother, African fighting for Africa. This is what they would see. What they would not see is the brutal force that this man has applied over the years, taking advantage of Sierra Leoneans, killing our people. Elections are rigged. Results are not announced. That is what Maada does not want you to see. And so that is why we have a responsibility as citizens to ensure that we stand up and defend democracies across the world. Because Maada does not want you to see stuff like that. No, 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 no. This is what they want the world to know and say he's a Pan-Africanist who's fighting for us. And we as Africans and we as Sierra Leoneans, we have a responsibility to change that. We have a responsibility to change that.
Don't let your
We should change that. And that is why I'm coming here to let you guys know that this is what is actually happening. And we should not allow these guys to launder their filthy and dirty images to the rest of the world. Now, I want those to see, just in case you want to get very frisky and, get excited, say, oh, the Sierra Leone president is a freedom fighter. I want us to watch this video together. This was during the elections, what it did to the opposition party. And again, remember, up until now, we don't have the elections result, which let me share that with you guys real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You see, guys, this is we don't have the results. This is all they gave to us. The June 24th, 2023 elections. We've been asking for the disaggregated data. Who in the world announces a result like this anymore? I want you guys to see this. Let me put this on a bigger screen for you guys. I want you guys to see this. We're not making these things up because a lot of times people think that, people are making stuff up, just because they want to, present a certain kind of image. This is the ECSL. This is the ECSL. This is how they announced the results in Sierra Leone. I want you to see this. And whilst you see this, because I don't want to spend much time on this, but this is all they gave to us, right? Say, these are the political parties. These are the votes they have. That's it. That is the end of the elections. This is what they did to us in Sierra Leone. We don't have the disaggregated data showing polling station for polling station. I'm not going to go into how other countries announce their disaggregated data. That is not the purpose of this live. But I want you all to see how these guys announced the ECSL results, the election results in Sierra Leone. They just gave us a list of political parties. This is how much votes you have. That's it. 56%. Oh, you won. When we have the disaggregated data for the APC party to show and prove that the APC won the elections. Up till today, the ECSL, this website was down a couple of weeks ago, but it's back up now. Nothing changed. They still have it there. No disaggregated data to support how we came to these results to get to that point. But again, that is not what I want to share with you guys. What I want you to see is this video from after the elections. I think around June 27th, when the opposition party was attacked. I want you guys to see this.
The flag bearer and leader,
I want you guys to see this.
the APC party office, and then right inside the office of the flag bearer and leader, Samuel Kumba.
My daughter has asthma. Abiola, can you hear me? Abiola, we need help. We need help. We're in the party office. They're firing live bullets at us. They're firing tear gas. We're on the floor in one room. I'm here with about 20 people, including my daughter. We need help. They need to stop.
Just here on a press conference, and then the next thing we knew, we started hearing firing, and our whole office is surrounded by police and army. All of the vehicles around have been damaged, including that belonging to our presidential candidate.
That is what they don't want you to see. That is why when they go around the world laundering the image, I want you to remember everything I'm showing you here. So you have the full picture of what is actually happening. You know, because again, they don't want you to see the reality of what they've done to our people. The assassinations, the extrajudicial killings, protesters protesting, getting killed because they protested. They don't want you to see that stuff. No, they don't want you to see that stuff. Let me show you guys something here. I want you guys to see this. This is what they did to protesters back in the day when, you know, I want you guys to see this, okay? This was a guy who was shot. Why? Because they were protesting. I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to understand why we're doing what we're doing and why it's important for us to do stuff like this. What I want to do here is just blur a little bit of that image, but I want you to see it at the end of the day. Okay, this guy was shot. I want you to see this. Now see? This is what I want you guys to see. They don't want you to see this. But Madabio is perambulating the world and talking about having a seat at the United Nations. This is what they want the world to remember them as. And we have a responsibility to change that.
Sierra Leone welcomes the consensus that has emerged from the UN Secretary General, from the UN General Assembly intergovernmental negotiations.
Exactly. They don't want you to see this.
Reflected in the Pact for the Future.
This is what they want you to see.
To address the historical injustice against Africa as a priority, and while treating Africa as a special case, improve the representation of the underrepresented and unrepresented regions and groups. End of quote.
So the thing is this, guys. On a normal day, this is something Africa would long for. But look at this man going there talking about having a permanent seat in the United Nations. These people cannot even fix their own countries. You don't even have nothing in your own country. The mineral resources that we have, you only use it for yourself. You cannot even take care of your people. You cannot provide electricity. You cannot provide clean drinking water. Look at countries like Denmark, Finland, all these countries. They don't have diamonds, gold, bauxite, rutile, iron ore, none of these stuff. But they're taking care of their population. What do they have? Confidence, like my brother Cashbox would always say. They've built confidence over the years, you know, and they've empowered the people of the country So when you take countries like the Denmark, like the Finland, Sweden, they have some of the most brilliant minds because the governments are encouraging their people to think and innovate and create the environment for their people to prosper and succeed, provide everything they need. There is peace, there is stability. They're treating everybody with dignity and with respect. If people have something to say, they don't go after them and kill them, chase them, lock them up. No, but we as Africans, this man, Marabio, what they're good at is killing our own people. Killing our brothers and sisters who speak up and ask questions, fundamental questions about what is actually happening. So what they want you to see is what they're putting out there. Oh, I'm the Pan-Africanist guy. I want to, I'm fighting for Africa. I'm fighting for Sierra Leoneans. I want the world to know that I care. And this is us. This is me. This is what they want you to see. This is what they want you to see. And that is why we have a responsibility as Sierra Leoneans to show the rest of the world exactly what is actually happening so that people will be aware about these guys, what they're doing, the games they are playing. This is what they want you to see. And you take people like Fatima Bio, what does she want the world to see? She wants the world to see her as somebody who has been fighting for Sierra Leoneans. So that is why you'll see,
how I used to talk
them leading protesting in Kono. That is why you'll see she, goes and stand up with the miners. Because that is what she wants the world to see. So let's listen to this together. This is what Fatima Bio wants for you guys to see. Check this out.
Mistake me Creole and fi say na Chinese at the top. So they are big, una wait start on, yeah? Then say from under supervisor na take hand on, na then go able for increase. If you na supervisor go up, they not go increase. I say what's the person in Sierra Leone and then for increase. So now we don't reach to that point where they don't almost agree. But we get some dog motorman and then government here.
Okay.
Where as long as they give them brown envelope, they will sell them birthrights to anybody.
Exactly, Mama.
For some reason, they don't believe say somebody there inside this government will go help them, let them not pay this money.
Yes.
Now what for let Koidu holding no say. Me no get the power. Papa God na get the power. But una waiting up na ya so na una get that power dey. If una no work,
let's listen.
Koidu holding no they make money. And for any day Koidu holding make no work for 24 hours, it dey cost them millions.
Okay.
So una always dey na ya. You know when they say revolution, revolution not sweet. Now no start this thing. And then when I come off free, so I left me picking, I left me work, I left all the Kanaya. Not for me, self, una. The salary, no, they come out now, quite do all the. Then they give me fuck all and I want nothing from them.
All right.
But what are they trying to say to una? No, not start this. Then you can't begin say, if they not pay me this month. If you not sacrifice, you picking all the better.
Okay.
So here are the beg una. So don't say so. Nobody know the work na do holding until they come with results.
Okay. All right. So all of you guys, you now know exactly what happened with Koidu Holdings, right? I don't think I have to say much about that. Now Koidu Holdings has wrapped up, and the people that were working at Koidu Holdings, they are the collateral damage of the stupidity of this useless and illegal administration, where the president, as illegal as he is, cannot sum up the gumption and the courage to take charge of a situation like this. He has to send his wife to disrupt the process. Now over 1,000 families have lost their jobs. That is what people across the world would not understand. But she wants to be seen as somebody who's standing up for the oppressed in society. When our people have been killed, harassed, mutilated, and battered, opposition has been suppressed, this woman has never taken up the fight to stand up for people in Sierra Leone after the elections was rigged and the elections result is not available. The disaggregated data is not there. When the women, July 4th and so, were protesting against the increase in prices of basic commodities and this and that. This lady has never ever come out in support of those women to defend their fundamental rights, but she's choosing the kinds of battle to get into because she wants something that's going to favor her. So she's looked at by other Africans across the world as somebody who cares about Sierra Leone. Now, you see, guys, let me show you another video here. I want you guys to see this. This is, again, it was a victim during the August 8, 9, and 10 protest, which, they killed our people. Some of the videos I cannot show you here because I don't want Facebook to take this live down, but I want you guys to see this. Check this out.
Oh, pull him back.
This guy was shot in his leg. See?
Pull him.
See? See?
Yeah.
This poor boy was shot in the leg. Let's assume this boy was protesting against the government. Does that give the security forces of Julius Maada and Fatima, because she's the wife, she's just as culpable of the crimes that her husband has committed? She has a responsibility to stand up to her husband and say, hey, this thing you're doing is going to haunt you and I someday. So watch what is happening. For the security forces to be killing the people the way they've been doing, it is wrong. She as a wife has a responsibility. But as the previous videos that I showed you guys, she's just as dogmatic as her husband and very brutal and very violent, just like her husband. So she's not an exception, and she's not going to be treated very differently when the time comes for us to have justice in that nation. But what she wants you guys to see is the fact that, colonialists, they are holding us, they are suppressing us, they're not allowing us to do what we want to do, in our country. They're this, they're that. That is the image she wants to send to the rest of the world. So let me show you guys another video of people getting killed in Sierra Leone, where Julius Maada is now asking for Sierra Leone to have a permanent seat at the United Nations. I want you guys to see what is actually happening on the ground, because it's very crucial, so that you guys would have a clear picture of what we're talking about. But let me show you guys this. All right. Now, this is just so that, Facebook or YouTube does not block the video, right? But this is this guy. You've seen it already. Listen to this.
Now OSD. Yeah. Now did you know? Now sell all over that day. Of course, I meet somebody later. This young man don't die. Don't go look good. Are they on my way for go shell new road now? Tell them about the let's go. Usai them. Okay. So this is it. Of course, our culture. Smart, now policeman fire. Now OSD. Yeah.
This is what they don't want you to know. So for the unsuspecting bloggers across Africa that would see the videos of Fatima Bio and President Julius Maada, the former president of Sierra Leone, who is illegally occupying office, when they see those videos where they're talking about, colonialism, how it's affected Africa, and Africa deserves a place at the United Nations and this and that, I want you guys to remember, that is the video, and those are the moments they want the world to understand about them, and not everything else that has actually happened, the killing of our people. Because I cannot go into everything now. If you guys want to see more stuff, follow my page, follow other pages, watch what's happening in Sierra Leone so you can see exactly what it is. But this is what we've been dealing with. This is how they've treated our people. Again, look at this video one more time during the elections when Maada talks about, elections in Africa, we care about elections and this and that. I want you guys to understand.
We believe that democracy.
Hold on. I want you guys to understand that, listen, these guys are just, acting a movie with us. It is a movie. That is what they're doing. So let me show you guys this. I want you guys to listen to this, because this gets easily misconstrued, and I don't want you guys to misconstrue anything. Listen to this video.
Like national elections, constructive dialogue and open channels of communication.
Let me take you guys back a little bit. Let me take you guys back. All right, listen from here.
Like national elections, constructive dialogue and open channels of In our engagement on the international stage, we hope for understanding and mutual respect, especially on important issues like national elections.
Okay.
Constructive dialogue and open channels of communication should be the pillars of our global interaction and not punitive, unilateral, cohesive measures that...
So what he's complaining here in this speech done at the United Nations is the fact that, of course, he has been sidelined. This was a year ago, right? A year ago, as you guys can see. Because, of course, the international community, nobody recognizes him. I don't know why the United Nations would not play in line with the rest of the world, but they would invite them. This is how corrupt these organizations are. They don't care. All they care about is pushing their own agenda so they can continue to receive the funding that they need for occasions like these. Because there is no way Maada should have been invited to the United Nations General Assembly to address the United Nations when they know the elections was, the elections was rigged in Sierra Leone. They know that fact. But they would invite these people. So he's protesting there because, of course, everybody sidelined him and telling him, because they told him that you're not legal. The elections has a lot of inconsistencies. And the integrity of the election is questionable. There is no transparency in the tabulation of the results. It is very clear. Everybody across the world knows this. So that's what he's talking about. Listen to him. But this is what he wants the world to know about him. This is the message he's propagating and pushing. So if us, you and I, that have the responsibility to make sure that we bring these things out and educate people out there, other Africans and other leaders, because the leaders are all the same. They don't follow the trends of what is actually happening. We have to educate them. It's a responsibility to educate people and let them know. As difficult as it is, it's not easy. It's just love for country. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not paid for this. I don't make money off of this, but I'm doing it out of sacrifice. I've never been a government minister. I've never been a parliamentarian in Sierra Leone. I've never enjoyed government money. I'm doing this for civic education, to wake up the minds of Sierra Leoneans so they would learn to understand how to handle these people that are portraying themselves to be what they are not. Maada is a criminal, is a coupist, is a thief. This is who he is. The world needs to know these things. Just because they're wearing these big clothes and a fancy for cars and all the millions of dollars that they've accumulated does not make them serious human beings. These guys are criminals. They're thieves. They're barbaric. They're violent. They don't care about democracy. This man has no respect for democracy. So let's listen to this. Listen to this.
Do not further the entrenchment of democracy, but instead strain relations between nations. Sierra Leone remains steadfast in its commitment to free, fair, and credible elections alongside our dedication to the rule of law.
Is that so? Is that so? Is Sierra Leone dedicated to free and fair elections? But I showed you guys the website of ECSL, and up till now, we don't have the results. Have you guys seen it? This is ECSL's website. We don't have the disaggregated data. ECSL has the gumption to just announce to us that Julius Maada won an election. And this man is claiming that Sierra Leone is committed to free and fair elections. I want you guys to listen to the irony of this man. I want you guys to listen to this foolishness. Listen to this.
We believe that democratic progress is a journey.
Look at that.
And its pace varies from one nation to another. We respect the individual paths countries have taken in their quest for democracy.
And this is the foolish argument they're giving across the world, right? Oh, everybody's democracy is different. So look at the pace of everybody's democracy. Respect everybody's democracy. This was the message Maada was pushing out there. This is what he's been pushing out there to deter the international partners to say, oh, yes, look at America. America's democracy is kind of fragile right now. So Sierra Leone, they might be having issues, but the opposition is just constantly complaining. That is what is actually happening, So let's not take it. Let's take it with a pinch of salt. This is what is actually happening. And this is why we have a responsibility to ensure that we educate Sierra Leoneans on the reality of what is actually happening, so that people would understand across the world the realities. These things that I'm doing for you, I'm telling you honestly, a lot of people, even in Sierra Leoneans, do not think like this. They don't think like this. But it's okay. We all are going to think the same way. We have our individualities, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because, when you rig elections just to lead, it is not going to work out for you. It is not going to work out for you. And this is why we have a responsibility to bring this out and let everybody understand the reality of what is actually happening in Sierra Leone. Guys, listen. Let me show you guys something. This was the most rational, findings. This is the most rational, research that a German professor did that I want to share with you guys. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? Because what this German professor laid out is the fact that the argument that they make to say, opposition, they're always complaining about this and that, is the same thing that has happened in Sierra Leone. This German professor actually broke it down for us to understand that that is not true. In Sierra Leone, it is not just the opposition complaining, or Dr. Samura, let me not even say the opposition, because there's no opposition, but Dr. Samura Kamara is the only person that has stood the test of time within the opposition today as the flag bearer and the leader of the APC party to contest the elections vigorously. So let me play this video from this German professor so you guys will understand what I'm talking about. Listen to this, okay?
Hello, my name is Simon Primus and I am an assistant professor of political science at the Friedrich Alexander University of Nuremberg-Erlangen in Germany. For several years, I have been working on voting behavior in Africa's transitional democracies. And in this video, I discuss voting patterns in Sierra Leone, particularly in light of the highly contentious recent presidential election. First, a quick breakup of the events. Sierra Leone is a West African country with a population of roughly 9 million and has written a remarkable democratization success story. Despite grappling with one of the lowest per capita incomes globally, the country has been a highly competitive democracy for 2 decades and experienced 2 peaceful turnovers of power. On the 24th of June 2023, Sierra Leone held its general elections. After 2 days of counting, the Electoral Commission announced the re-election of incumbent President Julius Maada, securing 56% of the national vote. His victory was just above the crucial 55% threshold required to avoid a runoff against opposition candidate Kamara. As often in transitional democracies, the winner is celebrating and the loser is crying foul. However, in this particular case, both national and international observers have raised significant concerns about the official result, pointing to logistical problems, statistical inconsistencies, and a notable lack of transparency in the tabulation of results. Many experts, including the renowned political scientist and author of How to Rig an Election, Nick Cheeseman, suggest the election was rigged.
This is what has been happening. The election was rigged. It is known by these international partners. Let me play that again for you guys. Listen.
Democracies, the winner is celebrating and the loser is crying foul.
Listen.
However, in this particular case, both national and international observers have raised significant concerns about the official result, pointing to logistical problems, statistical inconsistencies, and a notable lack of transparency in the tabulation of results. Many experts, including the renowned political scientist and author of How to Rig an Election, Nick Cheeseman, suggest the election was rigged. The most compelling evidence comes from the parallel vote tabulation conducted by the civil society coalition New Sierra Leone. In the past 3 elections, their PVT has accurately predicted the official outcome. However, this year several inconsistencies have emerged. Most notably, the vote shares of the main candidates significantly deviate from the projected results. Incumbent Julius Maada's official vote share is 5.8% higher than in the parallel vote tabulation, while opposition leader Samura Kamara is down by 5.3%. Importantly, both deviations exceed the margin of error defined by the PVT. The inconsistencies clearly indicate that the vote was rigged to lift President Bio over the 55% threshold for a first-round victory. While the parallel vote tabulation stands as strong technical evidence, it is also insightful to inquire the plausibility of the results. When we investigate the voting behavior of Sierra Leoneans, we find certain patterns that render it highly unlikely that President Bio secured such a clear victory. And this is what I want to illustrate to you now.
Right.
Two significant aspects of voting patterns in Sierra Leone speak against the clear victory of the incumbent. Firstly, both major party candidates draw substantial support from large and loyal ethnic coalitions, which should guarantee a highly competitive race, even granting the opposition a small advantage. Secondly, we observe a strong tendency of performance voting among minor ethnic groups. Accordingly, the recent economic challenges should have decreased electoral support for the government. To illustrate these points, I rely on data from the Afrobarometer Round 8 survey, which provides a representative sample of Sierra Leone's voting population. It is essential to note that the data was collected in 2020 during the middle of the presidential term. It does not reflect the political mood immediately before the election. Nevertheless, this data enables us to examine the broader voting dynamics in Sierra Leone. Let's begin by investigating ethnic voting patterns. The bar chart on the left depicts the percentage of incumbent voters in each ethnic group. Notably, Sierra Leone's two largest groups, the Temne and the Mende, exhibit the highest and lowest vote shares respectively. In the 2020 survey, only 10% of Temne voters said they wanted to vote for President Bio, whereas 95% of Mende favored him. This stark contrast underscores the exceptional politicization of ethnicity in Sierra Leonean politics. Beyond Mende and Temne, several other ethnic groups show clear preferences for one of the two major parties. On the right, the second chart summarizes the population share of the different ethnic groups based on their political leanings, providing a comparison of each candidate's ethnic support coalition. It shows that both major parties can rely on the support of significant portions of the population. In fact, the challenger Camara's APC even has a slightly larger ethnic support coalition than President Bio's SLPP. This configuration should typically lead to a closely contested race, making it challenging for either candidate to secure the necessary 55% for a first-round victory. But elections in Sierra Leone are not only about ethnicity. Performance also matters. A certain portion of the electorate clearly conditioned their vote choice on how the government has handled crucial responsibilities, such as keeping prices stable and addressing needs in the education system. To investigate performance voting, I conducted a logistic regression analysis using the Afrobarometer sample. The model statistically estimates the influence of ethnicity and performance perceptions on individual vote choice. The results are presented here in the form of predicted probabilities. The y-axis represents the likelihood of voting for incumbent President Bio. The x-axis corresponds to performance ratings. The performance indicator uses the question, how well or badly would you say the current government is handling the following matters? And it counts from 0 to 4 the number of positive ratings in 4 crucial areas of governmental responsibility: job creation, price stability, health, and education. The lines depicted in the plots represent the 6 largest ethnic groups in Sierra Leone. On the left, we see several groups that show no responsiveness to performance. The plot underlines the significance of ethnic voting among Mende and Temne, represented by the purple and yellow lines. Regardless of performance ratings, the Mende consistently display a likelihood of more than 90% to vote for President Bio. Conversely, the Temne hardly consider the incumbent, even if they express satisfaction with his performance in office. Although the point estimates increase with more positive performance ratings, the widening confidence intervals indicate no significant difference between Temne individuals who rate the government favorably and those who perceive all issues as poorly managed. Descriptive statistics highlight the ethnic loyalty among the Mende. This bar chart compares the voting intentions of group members by their evaluation of inflation management. Out of 322 Mende respondents, a significant majority of 287 explicitly said the government has managed price stability poorly. But only 13 indicated an intention to vote for the opposition. The vast majority remained steadfast in their loyalty to President Bio, despite perceiving his handling of inflation as bad. So where does performance voting come into play? Well, not all ethnic groups in Sierra Leone ignore performance. On the right side, we see the predictions for several minor groups that clearly vote based on issues. This is particularly evident among the Kuranko and Fuller ethnic groups, represented by the black and red lines respectively. In both cases, the probability of voting for the incumbent candidate rises sharply with more positive performance perceptions. This is a clear indication that these constituencies will switch between parties and candidates depending on the achievements of the ruling government. The Fuller and Kuranko groups collectively account for approximately 8% of the electorate. However, it is likely that the performance voting population is larger and includes other small ethnic groups, as well as some voters from groups with partisan leanings, such as the Limba, who are represented here by the cyan-colored line, and for whom we also see a...
Guys, I don't want to lose you in translation. I'm going to post this video in my WhatsApp channel. For you guys that follow me on WhatsApp, on my WhatsApp channel, I'll put it there so you can watch the whole video. But this video clearly points and shows that the election was rigged. The election was rigged. And I must add, let me show you guys this. This is what we call the disaggregated data, from the elections. Again, take a screenshot of this, and then you can, streamline so you could see the votes, and the numbers for the APC. Of course, this is, Dr. Samura Kamara showing 57.15% of the votes at the bottom there. This is 71% of the RRF forms, the results reconciliation forms. 71% shows that Dr. Samura Kamara had 57.15% of the votes, whilst Maada Bio had 39.80% of the votes. This is the results reconciliation forms, RRF forms from polling stations, polling centers. This is what it shows. So if 71% already had Dr. Samura Kamara at 57%, what would the remaining 29% be? The election was rigged, just like this German professor said. So I'm saying all of this because I want you guys to understand that the world knows what is actually happening in Sierra Leone. And the world knows that it's only a matter of time, before the people of Sierra Leone stand up to take back their country. But the purpose of this live, again, is to share with you all so you guys understand what Maada Bio and Fatima Bio are doing. Their goal, ultimately, is to ensure that they sell themselves to the world as these Pan-Africanists who are standing up for Africa. So when you listen to their speeches, you say, oh, these people care. But come down to their homeland, come down to Sierra Leone and see the reality of what these people have been doing to the citizens of that country. Again, I've showed you videos because I cannot put some of the videos on here because I don't want Facebook to block this live and YouTube to block this live, and then much people wouldn't see this. So I'm not going to put all those videos because they are very, very dangerous videos. You know what I'm talking about. The killings, across Sierra Leone, the assassinations, dead bodies appearing here and there. We've seen it. We know what is happening. We have these evidences. We've given it to, the International Criminal Court, ICC. Unfortunately, now you all know that the ICC prosecutor, Mr. Karim Khan, has stepped aside for a little bit. So we've mentioned all of these things, and we continue to ask, that the people deserve so much more better as to how they should be taken care of. But we've seen that these guys really don't care, and that is why I want to come out here and let the world know, if you're an African, and you've been one of the people that are saying, the president of Sierra Leone and his wife, they're doing so well, they're doing good. No, you don't know the underbelly. It's time for you to study the underbelly, especially across, our brothers and sisters on TikTok. There are some African bloggers on TikTok. They've been doing, they've been the ones propagating these kinds of situations. But what they don't know is the fact that, women across Sierra Leone were brutalized, and taken advantage of, beaten, by the police, killed, raped, across that country just because they stood up for their rights. We saw it across the country. Miss Femi Claudius Cole, one of politicians who was a female, who the women asked, say, please, Miss Femi Claudius Cole, can you join us and help us, and lead us in this protest? She was harassed. Let me show you that video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me show you that video real quick.
Been instructed. I'm not sure if you can see from far. From far, the riot police in shields, trucks, all outside my house.
As you can see, what she was showing you was outside her house while she's upstairs looking outside her house. Her house was surrounded, all because these women said they were going to protest July 4th. You know, they said we're going to protest. So that was why they were harassing Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll, who is a politician, has his own party, UP. You know, Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll, I just wished she had not used, you know, COP and UP to protect these opposition figures that were hiding underneath COP instead of taking their positions as other political parties or even coming together using COP, but at the end of the day, not just hide underneath COP, but use their political parties to actually propagate the problems of that nation, because a lot of these guys were hiding underneath COP, using Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll, you know, as a shield to protect themselves, you know, because they're cowards from the Bio regime. But listen to Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll here. Her political party was subsequently almost disqualified from contesting the elections in a way, you know, because they frustrated her efforts, you know, everything they did to just, you know, squeeze the small political parties in Sierra Leone. I'm not a fan of all these small political parties because a lot of them are useless. Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll, UP political party, she's been very influential. She's been very vocal. She's been speaking up about the issues. That's why she was arrested, locked up in prison unconstitutionally for God knows why. Up till this day, she hasn't gotten justice. But Maada Bio is traveling the world talking nonsense. Let's listen to Miss Femi Claudia-Skoll. Listen to this. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that.
Instructed, door down, as they have been instructed. I'm not sure if you can see from far. From far, the riot police in shields, trucks, all outside my house, just to arrest me so the women cannot have their moment. The women are determined to have their voice heard. They are determined. And I know the high risk I run is of them actually doing damage to the house, but I think I have probably greater than a truckload of police outside my house. And I told them I'll come to the CID, but they are telling me that
you can't take a video snapshot of me without my consent.
Inside your house.
Okay.
So, can you imagine? He's actually telling me that I cannot,
inside your compound,
that he's in my house, in my property, on my property, and he's actually telling me he's dressed in mufti, he never showed any ID, and he's telling me I cannot take a video in my own home. I'm sitting, as you can see, I'm sitting in my dining room. And if you don't want to be on my videotape, please move. But you are in my property, coming to arrest me for what? They're claiming incitement. A letter was sent to them informing them that the women are going to march. And yes, I have supported the women. I have. And there we are faced with, I don't know where the animosity is coming now, because I think I'm free to videotape my home if I wish to. If I wish to. So, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the match is concerned, I think I'm probably going to be absent because, as we know, we're under siege. We're under siege. I am under siege right now. I'm under siege. And it's a shame that they should feel so uneasy, because if at worst you know the women want to march, why don't you engage with them? Engage them. The president could call the women. The first lady can call the women. We say una match. Now waiting at the issue. They are the parents of Sierra Leone. I kid you not. These are and they're telling me I shouldn't put them on camera. They're outside my house. They're there waiting to arrest me. So I guess they probably end up breaking my door down or something. I am on Facebook Live.
At
the Facebook Live. So how uneasy how and when will they feel that our democracy on top we all throat the door down as they have been instructed? I'm not sure.
Guys, so why am I showing you this? Because Maada Bio does not want the world to see this. This is a politician being trapped in our own home, not allowed to protest. But Maada Bio goes to the United Nations and is telling the United Nations about all of these, democracy and this and that and blah, 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 blah. We are practicing democracy. Let them leave us alone. And Sierra Leone is committed to practicing proper democracy. Listen to this. Listen to this. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the spin.
Of member states to address and resolve internal matters independently and without external.
I want you guys to listen to this.
Political pressure. As members of the international rules-based community, African states strive for sovereignty and meaningful cooperation based on mutual respect and understanding. In democratic processes, every democracy faces unique challenges. However, the essence of sovereignty, as contained in the UN Charter, is the ability of member states to address and resolve internal matters independently and without external pressure.
So what Maada Bio is saying here, where we are having our issues in Sierra Leone, we don't need no international partners to come. We only need your money to support us so we can help fight malaria and help us build our roads, help us with building, some clinics and hospitals. But when it comes to other issues, as far as democracy is concerned, leave us alone. Don't interfere. We have sovereignty. This is what the message is pushing out there. And sadly, the stupid opposition, the useless opposition figures in Sierra Leone that I want to contest the next elections in 2028, that cannot even cannot even protect the past elections, but they're running to conduct the next elections. These useless people cannot even take on these points and attack this guy and point it out to the rest of the world, take interviews internationally, with BBC, with Voice of America, with Al Jazeera. None of the opposition people have ever taken interviews internationally to talk about these kinds of claims that Maada Bio is making. Nor do they even talk about it. So he's telling us sovereignty. But again, this was why the American ambassador, at the time, the American ambassador, Ambassador Reimer, was very timely when he gave this speech. Probably might have, let me see if I deleted that video already. I think I probably deleted that video. I would have to download it again. But the American ambassador, Ambassador David Reimer, talked about the fact that, how can we have, the referee, the player being the referee at the same time? Because this was what Maada Bio wanted to do after the elections were stolen and everybody was condemning the elections internationally. They wanted to form a committee headed by Jules Diallo as the vice president to look into what actually caused, the problems in the elections. So the American ambassador, Ambassador Reimer, was like, nope. We have to have independent people, come, and that was how the tripartite was born and all of this kinds of stuff, right? So again, Maada Bio just don't want you to know these things. They want you to remember them as Pan-Africanists, as people that are standing up for democracy. That is what they want you to know them for. However, they are not those kinds of people. They don't deserve to be called those kinds of people. So this is what I want to do real quick with you guys. Let me take a look at some of the comments in the section below. Let me go through the comments real quick. Amina Majid, let me see Amina Majid right here, guys. Let me fix this. I don't like the yellow. Let me do white. Let me do black text and a white background. Okay, I'll keep it that way. That looks good. Okay, so Amina Majid, Yeri this Christmas, she's talking about Maada Bio at the United Nations there. Amina, welcome. How are you? It's been a while. Thank you. Amina Majid again. It's a playful competition between Bio and his wife. While they consider themselves quite clever, there are moments when their actions may not align with their beliefs, reflecting a common challenge many people face in society. That is perfect there. They're playing games with themselves. Amina Majid, a tie with this stiff woman, a man. She's very manipulative. That is what they're doing. They're just manipulating the rest of the world. And that is why we have a responsibility to point these things out. You know, Aniru, Babatunde Davis, wow, so sad. Mohamed Bashir Jallo, Bio brutally killed unarmed prisoners and accused the citizens as terrorists. Of course, all of those videos are there. I haven't even got into, you know, half of my, you know, what my I'll call you Adon. But yeah, that is what is happening. Bio brutally killed unarmed prisoners and accused the citizens as terrorists. You see that? So these are all the things. Alaji is saying hi. This brother, Konotsky, not opposing this, it's just, but he says, shut down Koidu Holdings and give them back to the people of Kono. Why would anyone stand with outsiders to exploit our land and people, bankrupt parties and politics? I mean, hey, we all want to take ownership of our resources, our mineral resources. We want to do it, but we have to do it the right way. It has to be done properly. We're not going to allow people to use it just because to benefit themselves, you know. So let's talk about that. That is the situation that we've been, you know, talking about. So Fatima Bio is only chasing clout when it comes to Kono because she's going to use it for her own political gain at some point. That is a focus. So, but let's see. Lamin, brother Lamin. Yeah, Satta Lamin of Kailahun, who supported APC, was gang raped, but she was never protested for. Yes, of course, Fatima Bio does not care. You know, she's a thief and hypocrite for sure. You know, Lamin, you know, is an a-hole for him not to protect citizens that were killed under his watch. Of course, these guys are useless. Kids K saying hello, Ibrahim. You know, so guys, thank you everybody, you know, for joining me. I wanted to share something with you guys really quick. Okay, I want you guys to see this. If you guys are on LinkedIn, I want you guys to watch this, you know, on see this on LinkedIn. This is Miss Dr. Fatima Babi, actually. This is a LinkedIn profile. And the reason why I'm sharing a profile with you guys is because she has been publishing some articles about Fatima Bio. And it's nice for people to see this as well. And I want to share with you guys, okay? This is Miss Barbie, Dr. Barbie, Fatima Barbie. She has a PhD in education. I want you to see this. So she put up this article. No, an attack on Fatima Bio is not an attack on Sierra Leone. You know, contrary to what state-sponsored newspapers want you to believe, Fatima Bio is not under attack. She's the one attacking. A self-made conflict with Koidu Holdings is not rooted in justice, but in ambition. And that's a fact. She's going to contest for Kono to become a member of parliament in Kono. That is the word going around. Okay? She's responding. Dr. Fatima is responding to this newspaper. An attack on the First Lady is an attack on Sierra Leone. No, not an attack on Sierra Leone. She's representing herself. And the Kono people, where they don't go disorganized, and these people have become collateral damage today in Sierra Leone. Now they've lost their jobs, no income, nobody's going to take care of them. I mean, it happened with Standard Chartered Bank. It happened with cold storage. I know Sierra Leoneans, you've forgotten about all of these things, but let me show you. I put out this tweet the other day. I don't know why that tweet didn't show actually, but it was for cold storage and how they've destroyed but yeah, so this is the publication, by Dr. Babi. Like I said again, when she responded, who threw the first stone, and now widely circulated video, Fatima Bio threatened Koidu Holdings, a diamond mining company, declaring that she had dirt on the company and would go on social media every day to expose them. Soon after, the company halted operations, laid off 1,000 Sierra Leonean workers, and wrote a letter to Fatima Bio threatening legal action against her for interfering in the industrial, dispute. Of course, we have government officials to fight these fights on behalf of our people. It should not be a Fatima Bio First Lady thing. She could speak on the issue, but to cause this much disruption in the lives of people and destroying these livelihoods of these people, we have to take over our mineral resources. I agree, but it has to be done properly and professionally, not done in a haphazard manner, just done like a loose dog, just running around with the tail cut off. That's not how we do things. We have to revisit our mining laws and revisit some of the mining contracts and deals that we have. We have to nationalize, but even if we nationalize these, private mineral resources, what guarantee do we have that the people are actually going to benefit from nationalization? Just like privatization has failed us, we agree, but what guarantee do we have that nationalization would work for us? We don't have it because these guys are not transparent, they are not honest, they are criminals, they are thieves, all they think about them is themselves. So at the end of the day, there's nothing there. But hey, I just want to share this with you guys. If you're on LinkedIn, this is Dr. Fatima Babi's LinkedIn page. You could follow her there and read. If you're not on LinkedIn, okay. But guys, I'm on every platform you can think of. Every little time that I have, I go into one and see what's happening over there. If I see it, if I need to attack, I create that write up and I attack them. I don't play that game, man. We have to take on these guys from every facet, every aspect. Maada recently blocked me on Instagram. I didn't even know he had an Instagram. I saw his Instagram page yesterday. And I responded to this foolish trip that he's at in the United Kingdom right now, this Oxford nonsense that is ongoing. I laid a comment there. He has blocked me on his Instagram, but at least he has still kept me in his Twitter page. So I'm lucky like that to stay on his Twitter page and be able to respond to him on his Twitter pages. But you have to, watch these guys, what they do. We should not be lazy, laying around and just paying attention to ourselves, because I can do the same thing you guys are doing and just say enough is enough. I don't care. I can stay away from Sierra Leone's situation. But I'm like, no, we have a responsibility to make sure we, speak on behalf of our people, represent our country, let the world know what is actually happening so these guys cannot launder their image, okay? I'll leave it right here, guys. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Let me see if the sun is out now so I could go about doing my own business. Well, bye-bye, everybody. Share. It makes a boatload of difference, when it comes to it, okay? I want to appreciate you guys for all you do, and let us stay, vigorant, let us stay vigilant and ensure that we pay attention to what is happening and continue to call these guys out, for the wrongs they've done. Up till now, the 303 people from the 318, SLPP only said they found 15. We don't know where those people are. And we have a responsibility to ensure that we protect those people. So, but before I leave you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with this, so you guys can listen to this song and have a good time. Bye-bye, everybody.
There is a country that is crying for democracy.
So ready?
Yeah.
So signal Supermax, burn down Babylon. It's a bullshit.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
No sugar coated vibes, we no listen no more. Our ears have turned up. Where is the democracy? Where is the justice and freedom of speech? Yeah. Echo us where you are.
You guys gonna come quick.
The EU where you are.
Uno come investigate.
United Nations where you are.
Uno come to our aid.
Great Britain where you are.
You guys gonna come quick.
Super.
Check for see if I don't see your message. Wait, check. Say we go China. Hold on. But check where I can get in. Where I know does it go on WhatsApp?